through a whole series of weeks of negotiation, being dragged along by management board, encouraged to put in as much as we can, and that's what we feel we've done.
Mark,
can I just add to that from an executive perspective? Hope isn't the strategy. We are clear in the context of what we have in front of us to do over the next 3 years in particular, and the 8, 10 and 12%. People might say, well, why wouldn't you pay more now? Well, we think that we can achieve those sorts of numbers, and that's what as a management group we're setting out to achieve, and make sure that we do deliver that. So even in a very, very difficult market.
Mark, can you talk in a bit more detail about why you think receivership would be an absolute disaster, given the likes of Provincial got back $90 on the dollar or so?
Yeah, I think with Provincial and with the benefit of hindsight, it probably shouldn't have gone into receivership. And I think you probably find that even the receivers share that. The difference here is, A, you wouldn't get the shareholder support. B, you've got some very complex loans from a number of people who are struggling in this industry anyway. This whole attitude of let's not repay if we don't have to, unfortunately, is alive and well out there. And also receivers generally, and I'm not here to talk about how they operate, but receivers generally try to get as much value as they can, as quick as they can, in the door. This is not a market to be aggressively selling real estate, particularly partially developed real estate, or in fact almost any real estate at the moment. So it's going to require time, it's going to require patience, it's going to require working with all those various parties that are our clients to maximise returns. We think we're best equipped to do that.
And the other piece to that is, I think PwC and ourselves probably agree that the OPEX involved in us running the business versus a receiver running it is about double under a receivership.
I think we all shouldn't lose sight of the fact that under the debt restructure plan there's an extra $96 million available to support. It's effectively going to stand behind. It stands behind everybody. One of the things I didn't mention is that the transfer of those funds brought in by the shareholders they're subject to a deferred consideration, so they won't be repaid to the shareholders who have transferred over Access Property Group and put in this cash until the relevant venture holders are repaid in the relevant companies.
How confident in the scenarios pointed out here, the PwC scenarios, where about 82 cents on the dollar would be repaid, and the dark blue seems to say in the next 5 years it could be close to 65-70 cents on the dollar. Just wanted to check over what
is that on the
over what time period would you, particularly the first 3 years, how much would be returned under that scenario using the recession?
Well, that's not an answer I can give you off the top of my head. The fact of the matter is these comparisons are over the same time periods. A receiver will say to you that if you can collect $1 in 2 years, we can collect $1 in 2 years. If you can collect $5 in 5 years, we can collect $5 in 5 years.
But they will work off the same cash flow.
So the number of different scenario assumptions.
Can you tell us what's an Access Property Group? I mean, you have got some of those properties that are in dispute with owners. Are you confident that all that money will be realised on those loans that are involved in that property group? How confident are you?
Sorry, what?
Well, you've got
so one dispute?
So none of the Access properties are in dispute. Those are all wholly owned properties by the two shareholders.
So any properties that were in those companies beforehand would be separated out?
The ones that are being put into this are wholly owned by the shareholders and have no dispute on them, and in some cases are unleveraged.
Another question too, what's going to happen with the Fortress loan? Have you still got a Fortress loan? Where's that at?
We did have a special purpose vehicle. It was a joint venture with Fortress. That's been totally repaid. They don't have any involvement through that Fairlight facility any longer.
So they were repaid for the dementia holders?
No, they were repaid out of proceeds of properties that or loans that they had security over.
Can you tell us what are the assets that you're putting up as part of the 96 million? Can you give us some more detail on what are those properties?
In the Access Property Group, there's a number of properties, and they're primarily the big ones are Matarangi Beach Estates, Jacks Point, a portion of Jacks Point, part of Clearwater Development in Christchurch. There's an unencumbered building in the United States. There's some apartments down Viaduct and a number of other smaller properties.
And when you say they're unencumbered, they're almost all under-leveraged. How much leverage is over that?
Some are unencumbered.
It actually varies. Prior to the 26 million going in on the latest valuations, the equity in those assets is sitting at about 51 million.
And how are the valuations for those reached? I mean, are they values from the end of 2007 or are they?
No, that's what I'm saying. They're all new valuations. The 2007 ones, the number was substantially lower.
How many staff will be left in Hanover after this?
In Hanover Finance?
Or in the group?
Yeah, we'll look like about between 25 and 30 people maximum, which is substantially down from what it's been over the past. There is, and everybody will work for Hanover Finance. So we operate Hanover Finance and United Finance together as with all of the people employed by Hanover.
So how many people have lost their jobs then?
Well, over the period that we've been through this whole process from, over the last 18 months, it's not a number I've got off the top of my head.
Well, in Hanover Finance, the numbers are not that great. It's probably 15 or so. Across the wider group, it's substantially more.
You mentioned that the receivership costs will be double the running costs for Hanover. What are the running costs for Hanover?
The run rate for Hanover is about
It's about $5 million
per year.
Yeah,
per year.
And there's no, I might have missed it, but there's no mention of repaying interest.
No, that's correct.
So let me talk about that. There is an interest mechanism that is available. It's probably the complex part of this. What will happen is that we've agreed with the trustees that at the 31st of December 2013, if we've recovered a certain level of assets in either of the companies, anything above that will be shared 50-50 with between the shareholders and debenture holders, and that will be calculated as an interest charge payable to the debenture holders. So,
Mr. Speaker, why shouldn't the shareholders get anything before the interest is repaid?
well, because at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is a return on the extra funding that's been put in. It's effectively that's how it's been calculated. That's how it's been agreed with the trustees and the advisors.
How much cash does Hanover have now?
As of today, the number is
About $18 million across the group.
Mark, if necessary, are you and Eric even in a position to put additional money in?